Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this fifth day of this Holy Week video series. This day is called Skärttorsdag, which in Swedish means means pink, but it also is an older word that means to scrub or scour. This is a day of scrubbing and scouring not in the same way as on Svart Måndag or Vita Tisdag. This is a time for gathering the iron implements that mostly are the women's implements, and blessing the iron implements. I'm gonna just sort of read. I'm gonna read from this document that I've put together because it's just so much this day. So this is the day that Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus, and all kinds of evil was released into the world at that moment. It was a dangerous time. And this is why the good disr must be safely away by this time, so they don't get swept up in the purging of evil that must be done to keep the house and land safe during the growing season. In Finland, an old tradition on this day that I was able to participate in last year in Finland purges the farm and women's iron implements of any residual winter evil spirits. The women piled their iron and metal implements such as wool carders, shears, pots and pans, and the bells of the cows and sheep and goats onto a sled if there's snow, or a cart if the ground is dry. On the cart is placed a bucket of burning pine tar called terva, and the cart is pulled around in a circle twice clockwise to gather the spirits in the procession, and once counterclockwise to expel them. Everyone in the household follows the cart, banging pots and pans and chanting this chant, and pardon in advance for my pronunciation. Kiirastorstai metsen, peltoin peritse, aitoin litse. So this is into the forest, through the fields and under the fence is basically what it's saying. This way the evil will be driven far from the farmstead, and the wild elves that came in close to the farm during winter need to return to the deep forest so our fields, fruit trees, and things can come to life. So now it's interesting to me that iron implements should be the focus. First, because it's Thor's day, and Thor is the keeper of the iron, or the one who borrowed the iron glove, belt, and staff of Grith, which are women's implements. And then the connection to Mjolnir, whose electricity creates a sort of fence line between humans and the powerful nature elements, or Jotuns, or Thurses. In Finnish tradition, it's Ukko who wields the axe against the excessive forces of nature. And in Runo 9 of the Kalevala, Vainamoinen gets injured by an axe. He goes to an old man who can't quite remember the origin of iron. So Vainamoinen tells him the story of how iron was made by the breast milk of the daughters of creation. And he tells about how fire desired to consume the iron. And the ancient smith who told iron that it could be beautiful if it was mixed with fire in order to comfort iron. The evil in the world, Hisi, poisons iron with venom venom, and iron grows bitter and evil. He encourages iron to cut and slice flesh and blood in revenge. So iron implements have this potential to injure and kill. They need to be purged of this, especially those who are those unused during the winter months, like the sheep shears and the carding combs, and the things that women must use to create a healthy home. Another layer of this is that Judas Iscariot, Iscariot means knife wielder, and he was part of the group who sought armed rebellion against the Roman colonizers. He was frustrated with Jesus for the pacifism that he was teaching, and so it's an example. His turning on Jesus is an example of the knife wielder or the iron who does damage. And then iron can also represent the nails driven into the flesh of Jesus and the others who are hanging on the crosses to suffer and die. So the church word for this day is Maundy Thursday, and Maundy is a Latinized word that means commandment. And this was the last day that Jesus looked each of his sworn oath brothers, his disciples, in the eye, all 13 of them, and commanded them to love one another as I have loved you. And so in many ways, this is a day that represents the choices that we all need to make with the tools we're given that can either create or destroy. It is also a day that asks us to look deep into our own hearts to see whether we are able to love in the face of our fears and our anger and our frustration, to see if we can muster that kind of thing for ourselves, muster that kind of love. So it was a crazy weather day here in Minneapolis. Every 15 minutes, it's gone from bright and sunny to pummeling with the strange styrofoam-like hail. It's just been very changeable. And it's the first Thor's day after the first full moon after equinox, which is the moon called Thor moon. And so in some ways, it's like the iron of Thor and the flint of the giants is having a push me pull you of some sort. So I guess I can't expect anything less strange and powerful than this sort of weather on such a day. So thank you so much for watching these videos that I'm making each of these days of Holy Week as I uncover this 1,000-some years of ancestral belief and the Christian part of my urlag that is so big and so strong, and finding the ways that the pre-Christian parts of my heritage can come up to meet this other piece has been just such a profound experience for me, and so thank you for joining me in this amazing time.